Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome to Canal Algérie's news in English, and we begin by the headlines. Through the Prime Minister Ayman bin Abdurrahman, representing the President of the Republic Abdelmajid Tebboune in the 70th session of the Extraordinary Summit on Industrialization, Economic Diversification in Africa and the African Free Trade Zone, Algeria advocates a new economy model that adapts to African reality. The African Continental Free Trade Area, a decisive step and a developmental milestone. And in the same context, we cover the customs facilitations aiming to improve the business climate, case in point, Shlif province. In Morocco, the Makhzen regime continues to ignore the legitimate demand of its people, who are still taken to the streets every day to denounce the oppression and injustice they are facing. Lastly, we visit the beautiful town of Tarit and its splendid landscape that keeps attracting many local and foreign tourists. Good evening, those with today's headlines. First in our news, as the representative of the President of the Republic Abdelmajid Tebboune, the Prime Minister Ayman bin Abdurrahman took part in the 17th African Union Extraordinary Summit on Industrialization, Economic Diversification and the African Free Trade Zone, with the participation of leaders and officials representing member states of the African Union. In his speech during the closed work session, the representative of the President of the Republic reiterated Algeria's full readiness and commitment to engage in and support joint African endeavors to promote industry and industrialization in the continent, to reach the higher levels of complementarity and integration, highlighting the new economic approach adopted by Algeria to develop its economy and diversify its exports while respecting modern environmental standards. The representative of the President of the Republic, Ayman bin Abdurrahman, took a souvenir photo with the leaders participating in the Extraordinary Summit in Niamey. As part of the efforts to effectively embody the African Development Agenda, Algeria, during the evening session devoted to the African Continental Free Trade Zone, made a contribution to the activation of the zone and overcoming all the obstacles that hinder the flow of trade exchanges between the countries of the continent, in light of Algeria's commitment to activate the agreement and make the region one of the most important and broader free zones in the world. During the closing of the proceedings of the extraordinary session, the Prime Minister reaffirmed the need to coordinate African efforts to have clear contours for a harmonious continental policy in the field of industry and manufacturing, calling for strengthening African solidarity in order to withstand the current international situation and challenges and the repercussions on the supply chain of food, raw materials and energy in Africa. Let's have a listen.
الرحمن الرحيم. لقد تشرفت بتمثيل السيد رئيس الجمهورية عبدالمجيد تبون في القمة الاستثنائية 17 للاتحاد الإفريقي حول التصنيع والتنوع الصناعي وكذا حول.
I had the honor of representing the President of the Republic Abdelmajid Tebboune during the 17th session of the African Union's Extraordinary Summit on Industrialization, Economic Diversification in Africa and the African Continental Free Trade Zone. On this occasion, we evoked Algeria's vision concerning these two important files for African integration. We also discussed Algeria's achievements in recent years through the development program set up by the President of the Republic, which allowed us to record a new economic boom, witnessed through what has been recorded in non-hydrocarbon exports, which tripled since 2019. The achievements we shared today, in addition to the presentation of Algeria's approach to industrial and economic diversification. With regard to the African Continental Free Trade Zone, Algeria adhered to this area. Today we are reiterating our full support for this approach. We aim to remove obstacles, particularly concerning the original and insertion bases in different sectors.
The African Continental Free Trade Area is a necessary step towards continental integration. Its entry into force represents a milestone that reflects the strong political will devoted to comprehensive and sustainable African development agendas. More details with Anya Al-Bahri.
The achievement of the African Free Trade Area is considered a decisive step towards achieving continental integration, and its entry into force is a milestone that reflects the strong political will that drives African countries to effectively devote the African development agendas in the horizons of 2063. This agreement, which Algeria sought to activate and make it a tangible reality since the beginning of the negotiations, to be one of the largest free trade zones in the world, as it includes more than 1 billion people and a gross domestic product estimated about $2,500 billion. This agreement will also allow an increase in the proportion of African trade, which is currently estimated at only 15%, to levels benefiting the capabilities of the continental and the aspirations of its countries, and the creation of a promising African market that guarantees freedom of movement of goods and services between countries, and the establishment of a customs union and an African economic community later. This is what Algeria is seeking with complete conviction after it has embarked on many economic reforms, although the entry into force of the African Free Trade Agreement in January 2021 came in special circumstances marked by the outbreak of the coronavirus and the exacerbation of its repercussions. Then the time has come to revive it by supporting economic policies and raising the rate of industrial and economic developments in African countries, according to Algeria's vision for the benefit of the peoples of the continent.
Algeria, with its strategic approach, works on promoting national production and to diversify exports. And to improve the business climate, facilitations are put in place for the benefit of economic operators. More details in Shlif province with Sabrin Tafirginit.
Pursuant to the country's strategy aiming to revive economy, Algerian Customs Services, and with its supervisory role, is having a direct contact with economic operators, following up their operations, taking the example of Customs Regional Department agents of Shlif province. We have good relations with customs, especially with the laws implemented that support exporters in the commercial field.
في المجال التجاري.
As economic operators, the customs are geared towards accompanying companies, which motivates us to export.
بالتحول من الصناعة والبيع في السوق الداخلية إلى نحو التصدير.
They gave us the much needed information that facilitate our procedures. Periodical meetings were held in the presence of economic operators, aiming to raise information and awareness about the range of facilitations given in the export process.
في مجال الأنظمة الجمركية الممنوحة في مجال الأنظمة الجمركية الممنوحة لهم أو في مجال.
This new strategy aims to support local production, the competitiveness of the economic company, facilitate the export process and the access into the international market.
المؤسسة الاقتصادية وكذا تسهيل عملية التصدير والولوج إلى السوق الخارجية.
Coming under reviving Algeria's economy strategy, customs services are taking part in the new policy introduced.
An exhibition was organized in Iran to enable the youth to meet the people in charge at the National Agency of Support and Development of Entrepreneurship. This was an opportunity for them to learn about the administrative procedures that should be followed to create their own companies. Details in this report by Manal Ammari.
The promotion of entrepreneurship is the main goal of this meeting, which also offers customized support to meet the needs of interested parties through counseling, orientations, as well as recommendations in various sectors. We ensure trainees support at the level of this vocational education and training center, before and after their training, to help them find a job position, after obtaining their diplomas. We also ensure assistance for project holders to materialize their projects. I am one of the people who benefited from the state's support to concretize my project, thanks to the assistance I received from the National Agency for the Support and Development of Entrepreneurship. A training session was organized in Oran for the implementation of the state's program, which aims to reduce unemployment rates through the realization of wealth-generating projects, which will create employment opportunities. It is about opening a path for young trainees in order to enter the world of entrepreneurship by giving them a business card that enables them to operate within a well-defined legal framework. To conclude this event, trainers at the National Agency for the Support and Development of Entrepreneurship were honored in order to encourage them to continue their mission.
The Consulate General in the French city Lyon, the ambassador of Algeria to France, Saïd Moussi, met with members of the Algerian community there. The meeting was an opportunity to bring up the occupations of the community and suggest solutions for it. The ambassador met as well with the mayor of Lyon and local executives before visiting the Great Mosque of Lyon. In international news, the World Peace Council announced from Vietnam the accession of the Sahrawi Arab Democratic Republic in its selection as a member of the executive committee of the organization and reiterated its engagement in favor of the right of the Sahrawi people to self-determination. The World Peace Council regretted the fact that Western Sahara remains the last colony of Africa, while affirming its support to the right of the Sahrawi people to determine their destiny by the organization of a free and fair referendum under the UN auspices. In Morocco, lawyers plead for a healthy and serene climate. They denounce bills that aim to weaken the profession of lawyers, in addition to the unbearable pressure. More details with Anya Al-Bahri.
After a meeting of the Extraordinary General Assembly, the Council of the Bar Association of Casablanca expressed its fed up and decided to pursue all forms of protest, including the use of strikes. This association rejects the agreement concluded on November 15th between the Moroccan Bar Association and the government, represented by its head Aziz Akhnouch, the Minister of Justice and the Minister Delegate to the Minister of Economy and Finance in charge of the budget. This said agreement related to the reduction of lawyers' income tax provided in the Finance Bill 2023.
محامين بالدار البيضاء ارتأينا اليوم بالتزامن وبالموازاة مع انعقاد
Today, and in parallel with the start of the conference in Dakhla City, we decided to send a message to the Minister of Justice and the President of the Association to tell them that the lawyers are pursuing their battle because they are against any legislative law tyranny. This huge number of laws done in short period is unreasonable, and it aims to weaken the legal profession. For this reason, we say that lawyers are continuing in this battle, and the best solution is to sit at the negotiating table and dialogue, because it's not possible to legislate for a specific group in the absence of the professionals of this sector. This is a warning set in front of the door of the civil court, so that they may understand the demands of lawyers who always strive to present the truth. The Executive Office of the Moroccan Bar Association had strongly condemned attempts to undermine the independence of justice and minimize its role in society, at a time when the content of the draft law on the profession of lawyer was disclosed on social networks and described by the Moroccan Association as being unfair for lawyers.
After lawyers, it is time for notaries to denounce a highly controversial law, namely Draft Law 8, that has been deemed unconstitutional by notaries and experts alike. Man Al-Ammari once again.
Need for a government that is capable of fulfilling its role in answering the people's demands. However, the government continues to turn a blind eye. For their part, Moroccans are forced to face complex and exceptional circumstances. That is why sittings were organized before the Makhzen regime's parliament's headquarters in Rabat. The National Authority of Moroccan Adults continues its 3-day national strike, with the aim of denouncing Article 8 of the 2023 Finance Bill, considered as an injustice for all Moroccans.
وقفتنا اليوم هي الوقفة الثالثة أمام قبة البرلمان من أجل التنديد بهذا الحيف والإقصاء المتعمد من طرف وزارة الاقتصاد.
This is our third protest before the parliament to denounce this injustice, namely deliberate exclusion by the Ministry of Economy and Finance against a prestigious and legitimate profession that specializes in real estate documentation, as well as financial and commercial transactions. Draft Article 8 from the 2023 Finance Bill came to eliminate adults, which is unjust for citizens and for us as professionals. The Union of Notaries in Morocco confirmed that these strikes started as a movement to protest against the government's inability to provide legal protection as well as professional security for notaries. We are here to answer the call of adults who are demanding the adjustment of Article 8 that raises societal differences between all entities. It is an unconstitutional article that confirms the exclusion and discrimination of this profession.
تؤكد التمييز لهذه المهنه ديال الساده المهنه ديال التوثيق العدلي اللي هي مهنه لها جذور تاريخيه.
Moroccans in general and adults in particular are patiently bearing their pain and suffering while hoping for better days and for socio-professional demands to be met.
Tarid offers many options to its visitors. Some of them choose luxurious hotels, others agent qusurs, and some of them prefer sleeping in tents. More details about this dazzling location with Sabrin Tafriginit.
The Enchantress is the other nickname given to the pearl of Algerian desert city, Tarid. Its landscape beauty, its biggest dune, left visitors speechless. Its qusurs are one of the numerous beautiful assets that made this town of Bashar province one of the best destinations. Providing a taste of modern and historic aspects in its resorts and with its best offers, Tarid keeps attracting many foreign and local tourists. We chose to discover our Sahara, our country, and its natural richness. The service was amazing. Tarid's ancient qasr has its own way of bewitching the guests. After some renovation arrangements, this unique resort lets its visitors experience and witness Algerian patrimony, its traditional food and heritage. Tourists are impressed by the originality and the beauty of the sites, since resorts here keep its traditional aspects. The Enchantress's resorts provide competitive offers in order to provide the best experiences for their guests.
And we finish with the score of the second round of the group stage of the 2022 World Cup Games in Qatar. Precisely the first and second groups. Iran beat Wales 2-0, while the host country lost its second game to the Senegalese team. The Netherlands tied with Ecuador, and in the last game of the day, England tied with the United States of America, and with that still leads the second group. And with that, our news edition comes to a close. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great night.